Everyone sees the miles, the races, the medals, the finish lines, but very few people know the story behind them. Welcome to Why I Run, a podcast about the people behind the miles. Every runner has a story. This is mine. Hello, my name is Naji Amin, and welcome to Why I Run. I'm your host, and today I'm your featured guest. So if you had known me some years ago, you probably wouldn't even consider me a runner. I was a young husband, a young father, and a Marine just trying to figure life out. And running is the thing that changed everything for me. See, I got married when I was just 20 years old. My wife and I, we met in the Marine Corps back in 2013. Crazy story is, we were only dating for 2 months before we decided to get married. I guess when you know, right? Even crazier story, a week after we got married, we found out that we were expecting with our oldest child, Aiden, who just so happened to turn 12 2 months ago in June. We weren't even at the point where we can figure out how to be husband and wife. And now we have to prepare and learn how to become parents. When I received that news from my wife, I was very excited because growing up, I always knew I wanted to have kids. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to be a husband. I just wanted to be a family man because I grew up in a big family. And looking at how my stepdad, looking at what he did for us growing up and looking at what he did for my mother growing up and showing us how to love and how to accept love, just everything. It just made me want to be that guy one day. I wanted to be that individual where, I get to share my life with someone I truly love and create life with someone that I truly love. But in that moment, I was definitely scared when my wife told me. I was scared, and it was really, really overwhelming. But then we fast forward, and then we're on child number 2. And let me tell you, life did not get any easier. It was just super busy between work and the kids and just everything. When we had my daughter Naya, it was in the moment. It was like already hectic. My daughter was born during a hurricane. We had to evacuate just 24 hours after my wife got done having a C-section. So it was just already a mess. And in that moment, I guess it kind of set the stage of what life was going to be like during that time. But then, over the years, things kind of smoothed out. We were able to, for a brief period, kind of put ourselves first as individuals and as a couple. But then a few years after that, our youngest, Isaiah, he came into the world. And now during this time, 2020, COVID, this was probably one of the hardest seasons of my life. Because 5 months after Isaiah was born, I exited the Marine Corps. I became a stay-at-home dad at the age of 27, and life completely changed. I was in a space that I was really, really unfamiliar with. Jobs, they weren't calling me back. I wasn't getting hired. I was putting on crazy weight. I was overly sad. I was drinking more than I should have. I was very, very angry. And I just felt like that I wasn't enough. And I felt like I wasn't doing enough for my wife and for my kids. And one night, I couldn't sleep. I'm just up. Like my thoughts are racing. Like I'm just like deep in my head. And it was loud. And I couldn't take it anymore. I could not take it anymore. I decided to get up, put on my shoes, and I went for a run. And let me tell you, in this moment, it had been months since I even ran because life was just so busy and I didn't really get any free time for myself because during this period, my wife was also a Marine Corps recruiter. So life on both ends for us was very, very hectic. So during this time, I'm out on this run and it was horrible. Horrible. I mean, like, I couldn't even make it a full mile without stopping. And like, I'm hurting. My body is hurting. I'm just like, what is going on? But in that same breath, being out there on that pavement, I had found something that I've been looking for a very, very long time. I found peace. I wasn't in my head. It was quiet. I didn't have to. I wasn't thinking about bills or being a crappy parent or husband or feeling like I'm not enough or not getting hired, not being able to make a way. Like all of that had left my mind during that time. So I continued to push on that run, and I stopped every so often, but like every moment when my feet was hitting the pavement, it just reminded me of what I was missing out on and what I need to do more of. So from that moment forward, I told myself, never again will I not go running. Never again will I find an excuse to not pull out my running shoes and go find peace within myself. Fast forward a few years, I'm back in the Marine Corps. And now I'm serving as a Marine Corps recruiter to help individuals with opportunities that were presented to me when I was coming up. But also too, during this year, our youngest son, Isaiah, was diagnosed with autism. And that was really, really hard news to get. It was really, really hard for the family. But we're all learning, we're processing, we're growing together. We know that it's just not going to be one of those things where, hey, I got it right away and then, we figure life out. No. But during this season of running, I did learn that Isaiah loves to run. So my kids and I, we go on runs from time to time together. And they also too, I believe, they find peace in it. And they also just like to push themselves. And it allows for them to be free in the moment, even if it's just 10, 15, 20 minutes. But also too, with running within this year, it has brought out my creative side. I've put myself in a place where I figured, hey, I want to do more for me, for my kids, for the world. I no longer want to be that individual where, am I good enough for this, or will this work out, or whatever the case may be. I can honestly say running is what gave me the confidence to start content creating. But then also too, every time I go out there and run, I have a new idea that I want to do. For instance, the Why I Run podcast, or the Amin House podcast, or just, my regular content that I upload daily. I'm also working on an original anime called The Greatest Run, which will be releasing in December. I have several other stories that I'm working on as well. And then I'm also working on a children's book that is inspired by Isaiah. So I know that, this story, this is just my story, right? And the reason why I'm telling this story is to encourage someone who's out there who's been wanting to been wanting to run, or, someone who's going through a crisis, whichever that may be, and they need to find a little bit of peace. So I'm hoping that this story can push someone to go out there and find peace, to change their lives for the better, become healthier, help them find their creative side, whatever that may be. But also too, if you are a runner and you see this story and you want to add to it by telling your story, I would love to hear it, because I believe every runner deserves to have their story told. The whole purpose of why I run is because I believe that there's something behind the miles, and it should be spread out to the world. So if you believe that this story encouraged you, or if you believe this story will encourage a family member or a friend, hey, subscribe to the channel so you can catch future episodes with some future guests that I'll have on this show. Share it. But then also too, if you are a runner and you would like to have your story told, I would love to be the person to help share it. This is why I run, and I hope to see you on future episodes. I'm Naji Amin.